What's up, guys? It's Pete Mundo at HeartlandCollegeSports.com. We are going to run through our Big 12 football power rankings today, heading into week 2. Before we do that, appreciate you all joining us. Facebook Live. We'll post this, of course, on the YouTube page. Make sure you like the video on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. And, of course, on the podcast. Leave that rating and review. We'll get you a free Heartland College Sports koozie. Whenever you leave a rating and review, and send me a screenshot of your rating and review to Pete Mundo, Mundo, at HeartlandCollegeSports.com. So first, I've got a mea culpa for Baylor fans. I screwed up royally. Because what I did is when I did our Big 12 Week 1 reaction show, I forgot, and I had it on my list. I have my notes for every team, but I admit I completely brain farted and blanked on the Baylor-Albany game. So I left it out. I apologize for that. It was not intentional. I have Baylor to win the Big 12 this year. It's not meant to be a slight at Baylor. I understand Baylor fans being upset about it. But I literally had all 10 games. I had my notes lined up here, and I was just going game by game. And for whatever reason, at the end of a long show, I just totally blanked on the Baylor-Albany game. Now, that's a good thing because, if it was a 69-62 game, I tell you what, I wouldn't have forgotten about it. At 69-10, a little bit different. I nailed Baylor covering that 41-point spread. So, nothing personal. You guys know I picked Baylor, all right, to win the Big 12 this year. So I'm on, I don't want to say a Baylor bandwagon, but I'm a big Baylor guy based on what my preseason predictions were. So if someone's not going to forget Baylor, it's the guy who picked them to win the Big 12. So please accept the apology. Nothing personal. I promise you that. And now let's get to the Big 12 football power rankings heading into week 2. Now, I'll preface this by saying how this is done is based on how you played in the prior week. It's not based on what I expect the season to look like by the end of the season. It's not based on my predictions. It's based on who you played and how you looked when you played said team. That's how I do power rankings. Some people do them differently. Some people take the entire body of work. That's no fun because then there's only a tweak here and there. I do it based on how you looked in the previous week against certain competition. That's how I do it. All right, and we put it all together from there. So let's get to our Big 12 football power rankings top to bottom, and let's start at number 1, where I've got the Baylor Bears. All right, is this good enough for you, Baylor fans? I've got you at number 1 into my Big 12 football power rankings this week, and I had them number 1 going into the season. When you beat Albany, I get a bad Albany team, 69-10. I see no reason to move them off of that line. Blake Shapen could very much end the year as the best quarterback in this league. No doubt in my mind about that. I think they upgraded at that position from Gary Bohannon. You've got a team that I believe can be the strongest in the trenches when you put both sides of the ball together. If you take the offensive line and defensive line, who's got the best combination there? I believe the end of the season could very much prove that to be Baylor. So you dominate Albany like you should, but that kind of margin, 69-10, I am keeping Baylor at number 1 as they were last week in my Big 12 football power rankings heading into week 2. At number 2, I've got the Tcu Horned Frogs. Now, here's why. I'm not predicting TCU is going to finish second in the Big 12, just to remind you here on how this works, all right? But TCU is the only Big 12 team to technically have a Power 5 win under its belt, going on the road and beating Colorado. Now, I know the first half was not good. Slow start, only up 7-6 at halftime, but they end up outscoring Colorado 31-7 in the second half, get a 38-13 win in Boulder. So for that reason, I am putting TCU in the number 2 spot this week for our power rankings because they technically are the only team in the league with a Power 5 victory. That will all change next week. Remember, this is week to week. But for this week, for week 2, I've got TCU at number 2. At number 3, the Oklahoma Sooners are in the number 3 spot, down 1 from 2 last week. The Sooners did exactly what they should do against UTEP in Brent Venables' head coaching debut. Dylan Gabriel and the Jeff Lebby offense was solid, especially out of the gates. They were moving quickly. Gabriel finished 15 of 23, 233 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Also added a score on the ground as well. And the defense already looks tougher in one game under Brent Venables than it did in half a decade under Lincoln Riley. All right? So that's why I've got Oklahoma in that number 3 spot, taking care of business there. Meantime, at number 4, Oklahoma State. The Cowboys beat a MAC team. All right, it wasn't an FCS opponent in Central Michigan. Now you've got concerns about the secondary, how it played, notably in the second half and that fourth quarter when they gave up 22 of their 44 points. But all that being said, Spencer Sanders put himself in the conversation. He did something Patrick Mahomes. The last guy to do this in the Big 12 was Patrick Mahomes. 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns in the first half. All right, that's the kind of company that Spencer Sanders made this past week. So you like where he's at. You like where the offense is at. Defense, the line is solid. The secondary, you have questions. All right, you lose some young guys, you lose some veteran guys, you plug in some young guys, and that's the weakness right now on this team. But Oklahoma State does take care of business against Central Michigan, so I've got them number 4 in the Big 12 power rankings. At number 5, and this is going to surprise many of you, I am putting the West Virginia Mountaineers at number 5 in my Big 12 football power rankings. How is a team that lost, the only team that lost in the Big 12, coming in at number 5? Well, because they played a top 25 opponent down to the wire, should have won the game on the road at Pitt, defending ACC champs. And they're the team that we know the most about. They had by far the toughest competition in week 1, and they were one drop by Bryce Ford Wheaton away from winning a week 1 game on the road, defending ACC champs who are still ranked in the top 25. That's what West Virginia did. So this is not about just winning. That means you're, higher ranked than somebody else in the power rankings. That's not how I do this, because if I just did it that way, I wouldn't have to watch the games. But West Virginia looks like they finally got a quarterback in JT Daniels. You want to knock Neil Brown for some of the coaching decisions. You're not going to get a necessarily big complaint from me there. But I believe who this team played and how they played on the road, they deserve to be in the number 5 spot in our Big 12 football power rankings this week. Once again, that will change likely after week 2, but you know what? They're playing Kansas this week. So we'll see what Kansas is made of and see how that all plays out as well. Before we get to 6 through 10 on the Big 12 football power rankings, let me let you know about our great new sponsor for this show. All right? And people ask, Pete, how can we support the show? Well, you can subscribe to us on YouTube and the podcast, and like the video on YouTube, and leave a rating and a review on the podcast. Also, just support our great sponsors. This show is free. It's never going to cost you anything. We are adding podcasts to our arsenal, by the way. We have team-by-team podcasts for most of the Big 12 teams right now. So go search those and go find those. Just type in Heartland College Sports wherever you get your podcasts, and you'll see them there. We want to keep growing our roster on the podcast side. So this is how you do it, by supporting our sponsors. And our latest, greatest sponsor is DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. And it's now live. Sports betting is now live in the state of Kansas. All right? So if you're in the state of Kansas right now, you can bet same-game parlays and spreads and money lines anywhere across the Sunflower State. And DraftKings is giving new Kansas customers a can't-miss offer. Bet $5 on anything and get $200 in free bets instantly. All right? You cannot beat that. You just can't. Also, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. Here's what's going to happen. Opening night kickoff. All right? This is coming up this week in the NFL. Get up 7 points and you win. Bet on any pro football team of your choice, and if your team leads by 7 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code HCS. That's our promo code for Heartland College Sports, HCS. Get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. That's code HCS only at DraftKings. Gambling problem? Getting help's your best bet. Call 800-522-4700. 21 plus, physically present in Kansas. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus issued as free bets. One early win. Token issued at opt-in moneyline bets only. Deposit and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/Kansas on behalf of Boot Hill Resort and Casino. All right, let's get to number 6 on our Big 12 football power rankings heading into week 2. All right, let's get to number 6. I've got the Iowa State Cyclones. Cyclones fans have to be happy their team didn't make them sweat out a week 1 victory as they rolled Southeast Missouri 42-10. All right, you are an Iowa State fan. You are sick and tired of having to sweat out week 1 wins. You didn't have to do it on Saturday. Everything worked out great. So Hunter Deckers looks good. Xavier Hutchinson, to me, still one of the most underrated, underappreciated playmakers in the league. Had a big game, and Cyhawk Week is this week, baby. Can't wait for that. That's what it's all about, of course, this week in the state of Iowa. Number 7 on the Big 12 football power rankings, I've got K-State. Kept it pretty vanilla, especially on offense. Adrian Martinez didn't show us much, didn't do much, didn't have to do much. Just get out of there with a win, beat South Dakota. Get ready for Mizzou this weekend, of course. That's going to be a really interesting and telling game for K-State. They're 8.5-point favorites in that game, by the way. So pitch the shutout, even with some of the second-team guys getting in. That's impressive for Kansas State. And big game this weekend for the Wildcats. Number 8 in the Big 12 football power rankings. I've got Texas. Quinn Ewers, a little slow out of the gates, got comfortable. I know they dominated Louisiana Monroe, but you're not going to learn much about Texas coming out of that game. Alabama this weekend will be much more telling. Someone's got to be 8 through 9 here, and 10, of course, 8 through 10. Someone's got to be there. And, based on who they played and how they came out of the gates, I'm just putting Texas at 8, but all that can change next week. At number 9, I've got the Kansas Jayhawks. Yes, I took Kansas out of the cellar. If you watch this team on Friday, they had a confidence, a swagger, a toughness that I haven't seen out of a KU football team in over a decade. I'm not sitting here predicting bowl games for Kansas. I know it's Tennessee Tech. But if you're a Kansas fan, you saw something that you haven't seen from this program in years. In years. Just crushing a bad football team and having swagger and confidence doing it. For that reason and that reason alone, you've got to be fired up if you're a Kansas football fan. And at number 10 in our Big 12 football power rankings, I've got Texas Tech. Now, before Tex fans start freaking out and saying, we dominated Murray State, how are we 10? Somebody had to be 10, and when you lose your starting quarterback after the first quarter to a shoulder injury, the same shoulder he injured last year, that's part of the reason I've got Texas Tech at 10 this week. Now, you go out there and you beat Houston, you beat NC State. Tech's probably a top 3 team in our power rankings in 2 weeks. But today, with the injury, coming out of week 1, and, the concerns that we had before the season still exist. You're not going to get a lot out of this in week 1 against Murray State. I have put Texas Tech at number 10 this week, but of course, that is all subject to change, and it will change dramatically here in week 2. Tech fans are going to be upset about it, but just understand my thinking and my rationale for why I put them in the 10 slot. And if you're not going to put them in the 10 slot, who are you going to put there? Kansas? Okay, well, as I said, when you lose your starting quarterback, which is, no one's fault, but when that happens, that's obviously, a tough way to end week 1. Now, I like Donovan Smith. He's more than capable of leading this team, as you saw on Saturday night. Started 4 games last year. But all that being said, I've got Texas Tech at number 10 in our Big 12 football power rankings. So 1 through 10 after week 1. Number 1, I've got Baylor. Number 2, I've got TCU. 3, Oklahoma. 4, Oklahoma State. 5, West Virginia. 6, Iowa State. 7, K-State. 8, Texas. 9, Kansas. And 10, Texas Tech. Let's get to your comments on Facebook Live. Let's see what we got here. Pete, Baylor's not winning the Big 12 this year. That's from Tim. I believe they are. All right? I'm on Baylor to win the Big 12 this year. Jared writes, people overreact to the early power rankings. Let the season play out. I agree, Jared. But here's the thing. Some people do power rankings, and they just will tweak it a little bit based on what they expect to happen this season, that's no fun. That's boring. I do it based on what you've actually done and who you've actually played. That's why I have TCU number 2 this week. They have the only Power 5 win. Jennifer writes, Sick'em Bears. Kevin writes, go Pokes. Let's see. Kent. If OU improves every week, I see them winning the Big 12 and being number 4 by the end of the season. I assume you mean in the country, Kent. Listen, Oklahoma has the talent to make the playoff. No doubt about it. But you got to be a one-loss Big 12 team to make the playoff. We all know that. You can't lose 2 games. Donald, my buddy Donald. What's up, Mundo? Come to Waco this year. Sick'em Bears. I'd love to get to Waco. I don't know if it's going to happen. Donald's been kind enough to have me out there to a game. That would have been Matt Rule's first season. I think Donald had me out there. Waco's great. Awesome game day atmosphere. Another Donald writes, fair assessment. Thank you, Donald. What do we have here from John writes, Kansas should be number 1. Yes. Listen, if you're a Kansas fan, you know what? God bless you, first off. But secondly, you deserve to be happy after week 1. You deserve to be feeling like Lance Leipold is turning this thing around. And I believe he is. I'm with you. I believe that he is. He's going to. It will happen. It will continue to happen. He's building it the right way. He's got talent and depth at positions and places Kansas hasn't had in nearly 15 years. So I'm not saying they're going bowling or anything like that. I'm not. But they are getting better, and they're not going to be a pushover for everybody in the league this year. Tony, can you honestly say OU's defense is better considering they played a team that got blown out by North Texas the week prior? No, but, I mean, here's the thing. Just you can tell a little bit when you play a team like UTEP. You're right. UTEP lost to North Texas by, I think it was 18 points in week 0. So I'm not overreacting to, beating UTEP the way they did. But when you see guys on the field looking confident, looking comfortable, and that wasn't always the case under Alex Grinch's defense. It was not. I feel good about where Oklahoma's going to be, and I think that the defense is going to be improved just under the tutelage of Brent Venables. Elijah, Pete, the Tech ranking hurts, but Tech is better off with Donovan Smith, an experienced quarterback who won against the Pirate himself in a bowl game and played great this past Saturday. Like the last guy just said, can't overreact to Murray State. Understand why you're confident. I don't know if they're better off with Donovan Smith. Now, Tyler Shuck had plenty of experience. He's an experienced guy. Tyler Shuck is. So, I don't think experience, they have similar experience. Tyler Shuck led Oregon to a New Year's Six bowl game, which they lost to Iowa State a couple of years ago, right? So both guys have experience, but the one thing you can feel confident about with Texas Tech that you can't say about every other team in the Big 12 is that when it comes to depth and experience and talent in the quarterback room, you combine those things, Tech may have the most of it, right? Like, let's go down the list. After Blake Shapen, when it comes to experience, there's a big drop-off. Iowa State, very raw in the quarterback room. K-State, after Adrian Martinez, drop-off. Kansas, Jalen Daniels, drop-off to Jason Bean. Oklahoma, Dylan Gabriel's your guy. Oklahoma State, I'm just going team by team here. Maybe you say Texas if you combine depth and talent and experience. Hudson Card's got experience there. TCU, Chandler Morris, Max Duggan, some experience and talent there between those two guys. West Virginia, it's really JT Daniels. You can't feel good right now about what's behind him. So Texas Tech, if you combine talent, experience, football IQ, all these different things, you got to feel as good about that quarterback room as anybody in the Big 12 should right now. So you're right, it's not necessarily a huge drop-off, but still, if you're, banking on a guy like Tyler Shuck, and Joey McGuire thought he was the guy who won that quarterback battle between the three, clearly he wanted him to be his guy, then it's still a loss. There's no doubt about it. It's still a loss. Pete Mundo on HeartlandCollegeSports.com. Great to be here. Hey, if you're on the podcast or if you're on YouTube or Facebook Live right now, don't forget about this, all right? Here we go. I'm showing it on Facebook. You want one of these Heartland College Sports koozies? The only way to get one is to leave a rating and review. Send me a screenshot of that rating and review on the podcast on iTunes to Pete Mundo, Mundo, at heartlandcollegesports.com. We appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your Labor Day. Football's back. Week 2 is coming up on Saturday. We'll be previewing them, giving our picks later in the week. Make sure you like the video on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. A lot of video content going up there. And find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and, of course, on YouTube, as I just noted, and the podcast. Have a great day. Appreciate you sharing the show as well. Pass it on to friends and family. We are growing this thing, reaching millions now of Big 12 fans every month on all our platforms. It's because of you guys. Thank you. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.